What's up everyone, Quinn back again, and this week in my video I want to get into something that almost everyone wants to know, and that is how to retire in your 30s. Everyone wants the ability to stop working one day and just hang out and do exactly what you want to do or what you're passionate about. So I'm going to go over everything you need to know so that you can start planning to retire earlier and even better, retire in your 30s. So the thing I want to talk about is the FIRE movement. Now FIRE simply stands for Financially Independent Retired Early, which is a community of people that dive into the analytics of exactly what you'll need to retire by any age. Now before we get started guys, don't forget to go smash that like button and subscribe to my channel for more personal finance and real estate topics in my videos. So to start, we're going to go over the 5 different types of financial independence to aim for based on your lifestyle and your preferences so that you can retire by 30. Number 1 on our list is lean FIRE. Now this is a type of financial independence that allows you to retire off the bare essentials without ever having to work again. Now this won't let you retire with a luxurious lifestyle of sports cars and mansions and butlers, but you will be able to live in a small apartment, own a car, and even have regular healthy meals to make at home, and enjoy some inexpensive entertainment now and again. Again, this is the lowest level of independence and a lifestyle that is all about being cost effective. Now, this is how I would explain lean FIRE, but technically the definition is being able to retire off a lower income than the average person, which is about $61,000 per year. Now our second level is barista FIRE. This is when you have enough money saved or invested to cover most of your expenses, but not everything. So at this point, if you want to quit your job, you probably have the freedom to do that, and then you can take on some more enjoyable part-time work that tailors more closely to your interests to help you pay for all of your other expenses as necessary, like getting a job as a barista. This financial independence is all about being able to move on to something that may pay a little bit less money, but you will have way more flexibility with your work hours and probably have to work less of them as well. Now our third level is cost FIRE. This is when you've saved up enough money that it's able to grow to an amount in the future that you can be completely financially dependent off without any further work, involvement, or investment on your end. For example, if you have enough money invested in your 20s, sometimes all you have to do is let that money grow in your investments, and then at some point in the future, you'll have enough money to retire off. In this case, you'll likely need a lot of money invested early on so that your money can actually grow a significant amount each year. Now, number 4 is the normal term for financial independence, which is FIRE. This is our typical form of retirement and one that you usually think of when you hear the word. It's being able to live your normal, regular life without having to work ever again. Sure, you won't necessarily have 6 sports cars or live on the beach in Malibu, but you still aren't going to have to worry about money within reason. And you probably won't ever have to work again if you don't want to. Now number 5 on our list is fast FIRE. This type of financial independence is not only for people who want to retire, but for people who never want to have to ask the question again, how much does something cost and can I afford it? This typically means that you'll be spending over $200,000 in retirement each year, and you'll be able to earn what most people can only dream about without ever needing to work another day. So to teach you how you can reach some of these FIRE milestones, I'll be going over exactly what you need to know to get there. To start off, you need to think about 3 different things. The first is how much money do you need to spend every year? The second is how much money do you currently have saved or invested? And the third is how much money do you currently make? Now you should know the answers to all 3 of these questions, and if you do, then it's very simple to include the calculation into finding out how and when you can retire. To start with the first one, with how much money do you need to spend each year? Generally speaking, if you're under 30 years old and you want your money to last you indefinitely without ever running out, you'll ever get to spend 3% of what you have invested each year. So that means, for example, that if you have $100,000 invested, each year you can spend $3,000 without ever running out of money. And if you have $1 million invested, then you can spend $30,000 each year. But how much money you spend will greatly impact how much money you will have when you want to retire. Because for every $100 a month you spend, you're going to need $40,000 invested. But the same also goes for the opposite. For every $100 you don't spend per month, that's $40,000 you do not need invested in order for you to have enough money to retire. So based on what I've just told you, now you can figure out how much money you need to spend each year and take it to the next step, which is how much money do you currently have saved or invested. Now whatever this amount is, just divide it by 33. And that number is how much income your investments will replace. But to figure out how much money you need to retire, you just need to do some simple calculations. These calculations are figuring out how much money you spend each year and multiplying it by 33. And that amount you get is the amount of money that you will need to retire. For example, if you spend $40,000 a year, you multiply that by 33 and you get $1,230,000 invested. If you want to be able to lean fire off of $25,000 a year, you multiply that by 33 and get $825,000 invested. But then if you want to fat fire off of $200,000 a year, you have to multiply that by 33 and you get $6.6 million invested in order to retire. Now that you've figured that out, you need to figure out how much money you currently make. This is going to tell you how long it will take for you to hit that target in order for you to retire, and whether or not you'll have to earn more money to get there sooner. Now, retiring by 30 is not cheap or easy. So if you're currently making $30,000 a year, not investing or saving any of it, and expecting to retire at 30, you're going to need to find a way to make a lot more money. Now you're going to be able to calculate that by taking your spending, multiplying that by 33, and then subtracting that from your current investments and savings. Whatever is left over is how much more money you're going to need to make in order to retire. Now, knowing the answers to those 3 questions I gave you and the calculations that go with them is everything you are going to need to know in order to hit your retirement goal. But I know you've all been waiting for how you can retire by 30, so let's jump into that. Now, the calculations have already been done for us here. I'm just going to explain it as simply as I can, so make sure that you're listening very closely. If you save 70 to 90% of your yearly income for just 10 years, you have effectively saved up enough money to continue living your current lifestyle and be able to retire without ever having to work again. But of course, not everyone can or wants to save 70 to 90% of their income each year. So because of math and reality, the less you save, the more time it will take for you to reach your retirement goal. But I think that's probably pretty obvious. But once you start saving a significant amount of the money you make, you'll be able to cut down the time until you retire. To make it super duper clear, if you earn $70,000 a year and you want to retire in 10 years, you can only spend $22,000 a year in order for you to live off that money indefinitely. Hopefully, I've given you guys some motivation to either start saving, thinking about retirement, or even doing the calculations to figure out when and how you can retire as soon as possible. If you prefer working for most of your life, be my guest. I wish you the best of luck with that, and I know some people just love to work and love their jobs. But for anyone who wants to retire as early as they can, try these calculations I gave you earlier in the video to see how much money you need in order for you to retire in your 30s. Now, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to go hit that like button and subscribe to my channel for more personal finance and real estate topics. Hopefully you guys got a lot out of this video this week, and I'll be back next week for even more. See you guys next time.